Yo, what's good YouTube? It's your boy JY, and today we got a deck profile for you guys. I went to Nationals, it was held in Sheffield, and I made top 32. Day one, I finished 6-1-1, and then I won my next 2 rounds of Swiss. So after 10 rounds of Swiss, I finished 8 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. And yeah, made top 64. I won my top 64 match. I played against Flanderies, and then which is a pretty tough matchup. And then in top 32, I played against Flanderies again, and unfortunately, I got shifted to another dimension. And yeah, I woke up in the Dreaming Town. So shout out to you, my boy, Forsman. I got sent to the Dreaming Town. I played against it was Lewis from Team Bros, and yeah, he finessed me, just destroyed me in that match. So shout out to you, mate. And yeah, overall though, the weekend it was really great, honestly. First nationals since the whole pandemic. Like we've been talking about, like it feels like the Avengers, when Thanos did his whole snap and everyone, like half the population disappeared, and then 5 years later everyone reappeared, and it's like they called that period of time like the blip, and everyone's changed, everyone has grown up, everyone's different. Like it's been so amazing catching up with everybody. Like this weekend nationals, it was like the biggest UK nationals ever, like 840 players. And the thing is, there would have been even more if like capacity would allow, but they Konami and the tournament center did the best they could do with what they had at the time. But yeah, it was just an amazing event. It's so good hanging out with everybody and seeing everyone. Everyone who came up to me and gave me good feedback on the channel, like thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Like it feels really good to see the channel growing, and I just hope to continue trying to like improve and get better at making content. And yeah, it's just been amazing. So yeah, I played a P.U.N.K Synchro adventure, like a bunch of engines mishmashed together. And as you know, your boy likes to mill, so there's the Chaos Ruler in there. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So we have 3 Rights, 3 Water Girl, Griffin, and then you got the Fateful and the Dracoback. This is just super standard, nothing to say about that. And every time you draw these cards, they're great. And we have the P.U.N.K package, 3 teleports, 2 Xiamen. We have 3 Foxy, 1 Deer Note, 1 Ogre Dance. Ogre Dance does come up. It's pretty good to be able to out monsters going second. You contribute and attack over barons. And it's nice to be able to access a dark as well. So yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, nothing to say about them there. The engine is just really, really broken. And then we have triple Sangan. So I played Sangans and then the 1 Arborea. This card overperformed. It was like a last minute addition. I think Hani was the first to play this, and yeah, this package is really, really good. Like if you already have tuner access, you can just search Ash Blossom, search Veiler, whichever hand trap will be best for you in that scenario. Like if you verse Despia, you can search your Ash Blossom. If you verse Sword Soul, probably search a Veiler, so you can Veiler one of the Sword Soul monsters. So yeah, just really, really good. And there are also lines where if you have emergency teleport and you do your play where you go Xiamen into Deer Note and make your Chaos Ruler and bring back your Xiamen. And if you mill Sangan of Chaos Ruler, you can normal summon Sangan and link these 2 into Cherubini and continue playing. So there's some cool lines, to access your Brave engine as well. So that's pretty cool. And then next we have the Souls package. 2 Souls, 2 Illusion. Honestly, this card is actually just beautiful. Like this Starlight card is just gorgeous. So beautiful. And the 1 prep to search the Illusion. I kind of wish I had 1 more Souls to hit it more often off the ruler, but I think this was fine. Having the prep is really good just because it's an extra spell that you can send. And it's an extra card that can bait out hand traps like Ash Blossom, Droll, and Lockbird. So it's like it makes Gamma live as well. So yeah, this engine really good. Lets you make Herald, lets you dig through your deck. After game 1, it's really good because you thin your deck. Let's say you open like right and any way to like make a Hulk. So you'll thin your deck out of your Red Rose package and or you make all your monsters and get all the bricks out your deck. And then if you mill a Souls of the Chaos Ruler, or if you had the Souls in hand, you special Souls, you draw 2 after removing a bunch of cards from your deck, and then you might be able to draw into hand traps, maybe draw into your side deck cards as well. So it is really good. And also going second, it's quite nice to push through boards. Like if your opponent has a fat board, or if your opponent hasn't played around anima and put monsters in zones, 2 and 4, you can special your souls, make anima to like push through boards, which came up as well. So yeah. And then we have the Trickstar package, 2 Light Stage, 1 Corobane. So we copied this from Cam the Man Neil. He played this at the LCS 2 weekends ago, and it's really good because Light Stage can force out back rows going second, force out Brandon in red, force out blackouts, that kind of thing, or lock blackouts out. And then Corobane is just a solid, it's a level 5, it's a light, so it works well with the Chaos Ruler, and it's a free summon, and so it works very well with the deck. And the fact that Light Stage is a field spell is nice because it works really well with your Magician Souls. So there's an extra spell that you can send off Souls. So it has a lot of synergy. The only downsides are like when you draw these two together is quite rough. But other than that, really, really good. And then the Red Rose package, 1 Rose, 1 Rox Rose, 1 Basil. These are really good, just insane. They just generate so much advantage. There are lines where you can, after you synchroed with like your Griffin, you can turn these 2 into Cherubini to access your Brave engine if you have access to an additional tuner. So you can make Hulk with the Cherubini and access the Brave. So I'm playing 55 cards, but there's loads of combinations where I can, like, if I have like multiple tuners, I can use those tuners to access the Brave package as well through Cherubini, which makes the deck still pretty consistent. So I'm seeing right a lot of games. And then the last cards for the engines are like Jet Synchron, the 1 Fairy Tale Snow, and the Scythe. This card, please, like, I know it's not as good anymore because you can only like, your opponent has main phase priority to do things like they can Lightning Storm, they can Dark Ruler, and they can do loads of like whatever, like they can Branded Fusion as their first action to be able to like out the lock. But this card is just unfair, like it should just be banned. And there are loads of combos where you can do it in standby phase, where if you mill it off Ruler, fine, you can Baron it back. You can send it off shooting Riser Dragon to make it Riser level 2, Synchro with Riser and Ruler to make a 10 to make Baron. Baron is back in standby again. Like there's loads of lines where you can do it in standby, so this card is just unfair and it should just be banned. And also, like, I'd just rather just not play it. And then we've got the Fairy Tale Snow and Jet. And then for the hand traps, 3 Ash, Gamma and Driver. Gammas were really, really good. Like 1 game going second, my opponent's first action was D-Shifter, and I had to Gamma it just so that Shifter didn't resolve. So when it passed to me and I had my first turn, I was able to play. So yeah, this card is really, really good just because it guarantees like your stuff resolving when you go first. And if you Gamma hand trap going first, the game is just won. But then going second, it's so powerful, and it's quite an interesting card because there are certain situations where it's better to hold it for your own turn. So let's say you open this in your opening 5 and you're going second, you might want to hold it for your own turn because if you have spells or like interactions like Foolish Burial that can force a hand trap or force them to use one of their monsters like Baron, you can then just punish them so hard with Gamma and just push through their board. But those are quite niche situations where you can really take advantage of this card if you can get a good read like that. 3 Effect Veilers, really nice to hit this off the Ruler. 3 Infinite Impermanence, again just a solid hand trap. Nice that it doesn't trigger things like Tactics, and it's good as a 6th card rip as well, which is nice. And then 3 Droplets, another card which is good as a 6th card rip. This card like kind of underperformed for me, but I feel like the reason is, as a defensive card, is not that great. Like if you built a board and you set this, and then your opponent has something to break your board, and then you need to use Droplets, you have to get rid of your own cards to stop them, and it's like it's like a double neg. Whereas going second, of course, is so broken because you can stop Scythe-Lock and stuff like that. But even then, a lot of Scythe-Lock decks make Herald, so this isn't as good. Or they'll have, like, let's say you're playing against Libromancer and they have like the Magic-y trap set, then it's like, you need something like a hand trap to stop them. So I just was iffy on this card. The only advantages are like having variety gives you extra spells to send off souls. So if you go first, you can just pitch these to draw into more combo pieces. And then the last two cards are the one Called By and the one Foolish Burial. Foolish lets you access Brave or Snow or Jet, and then Called By is Called by the Grave. 55 cards main deck, and then we'll go on to the extra. So look at this beautiful Brad token. Shout out to my boy Bradley Hayward. Yeah, I had him on the feature match there. He's been everywhere, all over the tournament. This guy's famous. When I went to Danish locals, someone said to me, "Is that Bill Burr?" It's just absolutely hilarious. And then just the one field center, the Gohan there, just going crazy. And then we have Almirage for Sangan, Anima. Again, like some people didn't play around it. Early rounds is UK Nationals. You can take advantage of that. It's a spellcaster and it's a dark, so yeah, it just works very well. Cherubini, I made this quite a few times to access the Brave engine when you have multiple tuners. Hulk, Dagda, the dark. I was debating between this and Liner because I only had one spot left, but this came up a lot. Like one game, I summoned back my opponent's Red MD and brought back my Rose Dragon to like, you know, go off. Another game, I summoned back my opponent's Ogre Dance to Synchro to make Punisher to like break a board going second. Yeah, it's really, really good. And Celine, yep, nothing. She's just there for the access code OTK, and access code is access code. Herald, TG, shooting. Shooting, I really like this card because there's so many like interesting things you can do. I've sent Korobane one game to make it level 2, so I could then synchro with Ruler to make the Baron. I sent Driver one game to make it level 1 because Driver is a 6, so I could synchro with Baron to make Hot Red. So there's loads of cool different lines you can take with this. Another game I sent Water Girl to make it level 4, and then summon Snowback that I already like had, and then Synchro for 8 to make Ruler as well. So there's so many different lines that you can take with this card. One Ruler, a lot of people saying this should be banned, but please, I love this card, I love milling. Like, you know, you took grass away, so don't take this guy away from me as well. I'm only playing, it is quite a broken card. One Hot Red, this is quite cool, like in the grind game, you can bring back your like Zeomins to continue pushing. And then we have the Baron, just Baron, like one of the best synchros in the game. It pretty much power crept Burrow Savage Dragon. And then the one Punisher. This card did clutch a few games. Like some games I'd make it just going first, like against certain decks because they just can't out it. Like I'd get hand trapped, and I know if I try to push and they have a second hand trap, I'd lose, but they're playing a slow deck. So I can just summon this, and I'm on lower life, so I can just sit on it and eventually like push back. Yeah, so that's the extra. And also just one tip, I guess, whatever Yu-Gi-Oh tip, don't attack with this unless you're killing them. That's just one advice, because if your opponent's life points become lower than yours, it's suddenly like, it's just a vanilla basically, just a big vanilla. Whereas if you know your life points are lower than theirs, then it's unaffected. So you want to only attack when you're going to go for the game shot. So just be careful with that. And then we have the side deck, 3 Dark Ruler. If you watch my feature match, this card was insane, but yeah, it's good. Only downsides is that it gets countered by anti-spell, but you just have to run it because of how powerful this card is. 3 Cosmic Cyclones. I wasn't playing this, I was playing evenly matched before, but I've been talking with Tom Rose a lot, and he's been helping me, we've been theorying together, and he was playing this, and this really paid off. This is like one of the side deck cards that overperformed for a few different reasons. One, it lets you out Scythe, so it pairs well with other like cards in your deck. So like it pairs well with the hand traps, so it pairs well with like the impermanence, with the droplets, with the like a Veiler. Like if you Veiler them on Hulk and they can only end on Hulk Dagda, then Cosmic goes through. Or if you Ash them, for example, and they can only end on like Hulk Dagda, your Cosmic will go through as well. So it pairs well with those cards. And the other thing about it is that going first, I can side this in. So against like Brave decks, against Flunderees, against so many different decks that rely on field spells or continuous spells, I can just side this in going first, set it, and it's a blowout. like in my future match, I used it against Hanger. It was a blowout, and yeah, it's a good card to be able to side in going first. So it has like that dual application. Yeah, and a lot of times there's only like one real back row you're dealing with. For example, if I'm going against Sword Soul and you have two back row like anti-spell and another back row, I know the other back row is like blackout, so like I can choose which one I want to hit. Yeah, and or for example, if I'm playing against Flunderees, they're only going to have Dreaming Town most times, or Dreaming Town in the field spell. So like, you know, if I can play without using a normal summon, I can go bang, hit the Dreaming Town, and then, you know, Brave, special summon my like Toon or whatever, and go off. So yeah, really, really good. So thanks Tom for convincing me on this. Also 2 Lightning Storm and 1 Harpies. This is for like the back row removal. If I would have gone back in time, I would have changed Harpies for the 3rd Lightning Storm, just because I just like the versatility of being able to hit both monsters and spells and traps. Yeah, the interaction around like top decking this in the late game, it's not really that relevant. I think Connor Kelly mentioned that it wasn't that relevant as well in his profile, so I agree with him on that. I think I would have preferred to have the 3rd Lightning Storm just to be able to out things like Barrier Statue and M-Pens and other problem cards. So yeah, that's the back row removal. And oh, lastly, the God card, Red Reboot. I never drew this, but it should probably be banned. And then 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. This card is really, really unfair. The times I drew it, I won. Like, that's all I can say. Like I drew it a few times in game 2s and 3s, and it carried me through them. I was playing Barrier before, but I realized this deck is a Scythe deck. So if my combo goes through, my opponent's extra deck doesn't matter. So I'd rather have something that counters their side deck than playing Barrier. Like, it's nice to Barrier Despia, but they're going to have Dark Ruler and other things for you, so you'd rather have Anti-Spell that counters that. And then 1 Collector. People were trying to get me to main deck this, but I didn't want to main deck it, mainly because I didn't think I was going to play against Sword Soul for the majority of my rounds. And it did come up. The fact that like I played 12 rounds, so 10 rounds Swiss, 2 rounds in Top Cut, and only played versus 1 Sword Soul. I played against such a variety of different decks, like 4 Flunders and loads of other decks, and if I had this in those matchups, this would have just been not very good. And then the last card is the Dark Strike Fighter, and this is for the time rules. You know, if you're going into time, you need a way to do damage, especially in this deck. Like, you take 600 life, and that puts you below the opponent, so you need some way to burn them. So yeah, it never came up the entire tournament. I never sided it in because luckily, like, no one slow played me. Everyone played at a reasonable pace, and like, I had pretty pleasant games with everybody. So yeah, that was fortunate. But your deck does need a way to, like, you know, manage the game and be able to burn if required, just so you can be able to manage life points. Yeah, like I've been listening to TCG Experience, and Sammy Sakim was just mentioning how like Sword Soul is such a strong deck just because it has Long One and is able to manage the time factor. Same with a deck like Prank Kids in the previous format, just being able to gain and burn is really important. So that is the deck. I probably wouldn't play this in future. Maybe for Euros, it might be more relevant because in Euros it's going to be like a sweaty event where people are going to be trying to slow play and win in time, so you need something to counter that. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, that's the deck. Shout outs. So big shout out to Gramps. You know, you're always the MVP, always hooking me up with all the cards. Yeah, so you know the deal, you know how it works. And then shout out to my boy Chris. You know, he came down from Denmark to stay with us for the weekend and help support me for UK Nats. You know, same way I helped support him for Danish Nats. He got top 4 at Danish Nats last weekend. I'm going to drop his deck profile now because finally it's completely different to what I played. But I didn't want to reveal it right away just in case I played his deck for this event. Shout out to Tom Rose as well. We theoried, we talked as well. Our decks are very, very similar, just a few cards different. But yeah, you've been a great help and helped me like last minute to put things together when I was like scrambling and panicking. Shout out to all the boys from the Bread chat, from the Bread server. So, you know, Brad Hayward, of course, the owner of the server. The GOAT, Tim the GOAT, Darren Stevenson, Luke Parks, Omar, Joward. Sorry you couldn't make it. I hope you're enjoying your wife's 30th birthday. Hopefully see you at Euros or sometime soon. Who else is there to shout? Jordan Gallagher, Nadir, Fafa, congrats on topping, man. Jeez, you're really out here, man. Like, you're really putting in the work. So shout out to the driver. I forgot to shout you out. Joseph Code, man. Cody, my guy. Always driving us to these events. You know, you're the MVPs. So much love to you, bro. Also, shout out to the Sneak Attack crew. So, you know, Sammy Sakum, Jay Quincy, the TCG Experience, Kirk as well, bro. You're like the Shaquille O'Neal of Yu-Gi-Oh. You're always cracking me up, always making me laugh, bringing the jokes and the bands. Yusuf, Amar, Jakai, all you guys. It was fun hanging out with you on a Sunday night. Also, shout out to Disciples. You guys represented. Shout out to Nick for winning, Robertson for making the finals. I'm proud of you guys. Well done. And yeah, Nick, I don't think you're going to retire, but if you do, I wish you all the best, my guy. Shout out to Team Shift as well, Tier Zero, all you guys keep grinding. I love what you guys all do. And yeah, bringing the UK scene up, representing. And if I forgot to shout you out, I'm sorry. Much love, guys. Peace out.